Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible equinety stories and how equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to another exciting Equinety podcast. This is one that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, as we've been running this ad for actually quite a while on Monty, who is a 19-year-old thoroughbred gelding, and we're just going to jump right into this one because this was one of those that had my jaw beyond my desk, right on to the floor when I received these videos. So without further ado, let's welcome the owner of Monty, Larissa Norris. Larissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Well, we're glad to have you on here. And so let's go back and let's get right into this. And by the way, below this podcast on our website, this entire thing will be transcribed. We're going to have the videos before and after of Monty so people can see what we're talking about. What was going on with Monty prior to you giving me a phone call?
Well, we kind of started off as we found a nail out in the pasture somehow, and of course that happens here and there, and it ended up turning into an abscess, which led to thrush, and cellulitis went all the way up his leg, and he wasn't putting his foot on the ground. It started off, he'd just stand on like the tiptoe, and he eventually never even put it down. He would not touch it on the ground at all. So we were quite concerned, and we've contacted multiple vets, and the farrier was working with him, and we had really almost given up on him. So it was awesome to be able to find something to finally help him. And
so this was the video that you sent me, and this is what we're going to have posted at the teamequinety.com website. Is you can see Monty. He cannot put any weight whatsoever on that back left leg, and at that time, you had called me because he had also, during all of this, I also had a heat stroke.
Yes, he had a heat stroke after we had been giving him different antibiotics. He was actually on antibiotics 3 times a day, and it ended up, we backed it down to 2 times a day, and he was just having no improvement, really. He maybe put it on, the toe again one day, but then the next day he wasn't walking on it again. He disappeared completely. We had him in like a little run-in, and he was in kind of a dry lot, but he never left the lean-to. He had fans and everything, and he disappeared, and we thought, where did he go? And we looked and looked and looked for him, and he was back as far as you can get in the back pasture, and this is not even where any of the horses go. Mm-hmm. And he was hiding in like a brush area, like far back, and he wouldn't come to us. We couldn't get him to walk out, anything. And that's when we called the vet out again, and that's when he was diagnosed with a heat stroke. And he was very odd. I've never seen a horse have a heat stroke, and it was definitely different. So we had to coax him back to the barn and treat that also. And he's still even with vet care, he wasn't really improving. So that's when we had really had to make the decision of what we were going to have to do with him.
And it was at that time that you had called me because you had come across or one of our ads that we were running on Facebook, and you had told me this story about Monty. And everybody from the vets to the farriers, and I mean, you had tried everything that you knew to do. Everybody's scratching their head. And if memory serves me correctly, you said that you just purchased some Equinety, and this was going to be make or break for Monty, and that was going to be it if this didn't work. And you told me yes, and you told me that you had ordered the little 15-day sample tub, mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, so we're literally going to give Monty 15 days maximum here. And I'm like, okay, This can't be the case. So I promised you that I would send you another 30 days. Just let's give Monty mm-hmm. a fighting chance here beyond, let's give him a good chance. And then if we fast forward about 6 or 7 days, you called me again, and mm-hmm. I hate to admit this, but you said to me, John, I wanted to give you an update on Monty. And by the way, that other product that you were going to send never did make it. And my heart sunk because I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to send you the product because I was on the road and I was at some shows. I felt so bad. I just didn't even know what to say. And you're like, and then you saved me because you were so gracious. And you said, well, check out this video. So you text me the updated video and describe to everybody what this video was.
Well, Monty, we brought him in. We were actually still doing like soaking his foot every day and keeping it wrapped and treating, the thrush and the abscess. So we brought him in, had him unwrapped. He never goes anywhere. So we just had him standing there. No lead rope, nothing, being a horrible horse owner. We were in an indoor arena. And so he just decides that he wants to go play in the pasture with the rest of the horses. And he takes off running to the other side of the indoor arena. And I grabbed my phone as quick as I could to videotape him. And I actually missed the first part where he was like bucking and kicking his back feet up in the air. But I caught the end of it where he was running from the left side of the door to the right side of the door. And he was like kicking his front feet up in the air, putting weight on both of his hind legs completely. And just like pawing in the air, totally excited. He wanted to go out and run with them so bad. And I cried tears of joy as I was videotaping. You could probably hear me sobbing in the video, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I was so excited to see how happy he was and how much better he was feeling.
And this was like not even 7 days on product.
Yeah, it was not even 7 days on product. And I was just totally blown away at the difference in him. And you could just tell just that 7 days made such a difference. He just felt so much better. And I still to this day believe that I can give it 100% to the Equinety. Yeah,
we are so blessed. And, this story, it seemed to be like the first story that came in. And then all of a sudden there was like an avalanche of stories that were coming in, people that were dealing with mystery lamenesses. And they were literally at a point where they were having to make that final decision. It was just almost a replica of your story. And I was keeping track there for a while. It was around a 4.5 month period. And there were 35 to 40 people that had contacted us either through phone or email, some way, shape, or form, that literally told us that this Equinety product had saved their horse's life. And I tell people all the time it's not a miracle supplement, but it sure does some miraculous things. And, these stories are hard to say, well, a miracle it just happened because, everybody in your case with Monty was scratching their heads. Nobody knew what else to do rather. Now, so what is Monty doing these days?
Well, Monty is actually at a thoroughbred barn. They focus on jumping and they give a lot of lessons for 4-H children and stuff. So he's been there as his recovery time. And we were jumping on Sunday, actually, just a couple days ago. He was going over little 1.5 to 2 foot jumps and some ground poles. And just light stuff just for fun. And he gets to come home on the 21st. So
wow.
Just a little under a week away, he gets to come home, and my kids are excited to have him back, and they're excited to take him to the fair, and we're just looking forward to moving on in his life.
Right. Now, how long has he been on product now, the Equinety product?
Oh, man, I don't even know, John. That's a
You know what?
question.
I remember where I was. So
it
was in August of last year, and we're recording this in May of 19, because I remember which horse show I was at up in Michigan.
Okay. I think you're right. I think it was August because I remember the vet came out. The vet came out shortly after, and yeah, I think you're right. I think it was right around August.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in the fall. I remember that.
Right. So. Yeah. So what is the vet and the farrier? Because at the time, your farrier was thinking it was one thing. The vet wasn't necessarily agreeing with them. And then what?
Yeah. The vet was saying more that it was all in the foot, and the farrier was kind of thinking it might have been more of a stifle injury than anything. But he was thinking that was more related to limping and how he was walking on it may have caused a stifle injury. The vet was just out not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago actually, and he was like, "Is this even the same horse?" And then the farrier was just there Monday, so 2 days ago, and he was just like, "Wow, I cannot believe that this horse is the same horse." And he even said he had a friend with him who had actually trimmed him when he first happened. And he said, I have never seen this horse put his foot down. So he was pretty, they were both pretty impressed. They could not believe that this was all happening and that this was even the same horse, because we had deemed him unfixable, basically.
Right. Well, and we've used these videos for some of our advertising, and a lot of comments, people say, oh, this isn't the same horse. There's no way. And of course, I've brought you into these conversations, whether you liked it or not. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on this podcast, because now I can just put the link there and then they can hear directly from the owner that, yes, indeed, this is the same horse. Mm-hmm. That
is the same horse. Yeah. I've been giggling at some of the comments about, oh, wow, that's photoshopped, and, that
yes.
saying all sorts of things. But yeah, he's the same horse. So
that's so amazing.
I don't think he's the same horse necessarily, that he's limping, but
right.
he's definitely an improved horse now. So
no doubt about it.
I will say.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I tell you what, if you're listening into this podcast for the first time and you're faced with a similar situation, or you're dealing with a mystery lameness, I just highly encourage you to give the Equinety a try. It can't hurt, obviously. And in this case with Monty, it saved his life and completely changed him around. And so no reason why he shouldn't be around for years, when he was literally looking at 15 days of life left. So, yeah, but wow.
Definitely an improvement. Definitely worth that 15-day trial there.
Yeah, absolutely. Even, and with my forgetfulness on you, that's great. So, but well, Larissa, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to share your Equinety story, and it's this is going to be a great one. I know it's going to help a lot of people out there. So, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.